अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जान रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today we'll be studying about supreme contentment. So in the absence of greed, supreme contentment is manifested. So far we have studied Uttam Shama. Uttam Shama is supreme forgiveness. That is as a result of absence of anger. Similarly, Uttam Madhav, supreme Madhav was what? Modesty, supreme modesty, and the absence of pride, passion. The third one was Uttam Shama, Madhav, Arjav, straightforwardness, supreme straightforwardness, and it is manifested in the absence of deceitfulness. Today, we are going to study about supreme contentment, Uttam Soch, and that is reproduced in the absence of greed. So in the first four types of religion, characteristics of religion, all the four major passions are covered: anger, pride, deceitfulness, and greed. Okay, so these are the four major passions, and because of this, the soul has been suffering a lot. Is binding so many karmas and all. So to get rid of all these four passions, four types of passions, there are four qualities that a soul possesses, and when we take shelter in ourselves, these four qualities gets manifested in the modification, and when that gets get manifested in the modification, the corresponding passions goes. So one thing that we see common across all the four characteristic of religion is that to get rid of all kinds of passion, there is only one way. We have to take shelter in ourselves. We have to take shelter in our soul. Okay. So that is going to bring all the good qualities which are there in the soul to get manifested and rise in the modification. And because of that, we are enjoying eternal bliss. So today, contentment means santosh, okay? Satisfaction. We'll start from page number 58. Jinpriya ji, can you share the PDF if I make you a co-host?
Gee, if you're asking me, I joined from mobile, so I'm not able to. I'm trying to log in via web, but that's why I may not be able to share. Guruji.
Okay, okay. And Subhaji, can you do that? Should I make you a co-host so that you can share the PDF files on the screen? Okay. Anyways, you have all physical books with you. You've got all the physical books with you. So it doesn't matter whether we share it on screen or not. So Jinpriya ji, can you read it from page number 58? The first, first three paragraphs.
Yes, 1 minute. 1 second. Yes. Supreme contentment. Uttam Saucha. Purity, holiness is contentment. The word Uttama prefixed with Shaucha denotes the existing of Samyak Darshan, right belief. Therefore, the attachmentless purity found with right belief is the religion of supreme contentment. The passion of greed, Lobha Kashaya, has been treated as the contrary face of Shaucha Dharma. Greed, Lobha, is said to be the generator, father of vices, sins, because there is no sin worth the name in which a greedy person does not indulge. What does a greedy self not do? In whatever way he acts, his main concern always remains only to collect, anyhow, even by hook or by crook, wealth, etc., the materials of enjoyment. The great...
excuse me, Ji, now you make me co-host. I'll try to do it.
Okay.
Sorry?
1 minute. I'm making co-host Subhaji. She will share the PDF on screen. Yeah, now you start reading. She will join.
Okay. So should I continue, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. The great Pandit Todarmal has described the conduct of a greedy person thus: when the greed passion manifests in oneself, he, being desirous of getting the desired things, thinks about various means for its accomplishment. He speaks words in support of it, possesses his body in different ways, tolerates severe miseries, serves others, goes to foreign, indulge in that work which may end his life, and start such activities which cause great sufferings. On the rise of avarice, even if it be the work of some respected, adored person, there too he tries somehow to achieve his goal, giving no thought to rationality. and whatever desired thing he has obtained, he tries to protect it by various means. If the desired object is not obtained or is lost, he feels very much distracted, starts cutting the parts of his own body, and dies by swallowing poison. Such a state condition happens when avarice manifests. Acharya Shubhachandra has written in 19th chapter of Janarvana even to this extent. A person empowered by this avarice passion takes the wealth even by killing cruelly his own master, teacher, brother, friend, aged person, wife, children, and weak, poor, orphan, and destitute fellows. Whatever evils are.
This much.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have seen that how Pandit Todramalji described the conduct of a greedy person. Okay. So when the greed passion manifests in oneself, being desirous of getting the desired things about various means. Things means it's an activity of the mind for its accomplishment. He speaks words in support of it. That is part of speech. Possesses his body in different ways. So mind, speech, and body. He expresses his greediness through the medium of mind, speech, and body.
I'm not able to do it, G. Sorry.
But just now it was shown on the screen. You know?
It was there on the screen. Okay.
Yeah, you just try once more. I think you will be able to do it.
Okay.
Or Jinaji, you can share PDF if I make you a co-host.
In my computer, I'm not able to join the audio, G. One second, let me try in the mobile itself. Just a minute.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Only host can you make me host? I will try.
Let me co-host.
Okay, 1 minute.
He speaks, so he does various activities through mind, speech, and body.
Oh, I think Shubhaji is sharing.
Is it coming? Right.
It was.
You try it, Jinapriya.
I'm not even a host, I think.
I'm not
yes. Host. You are
okay,
co-host.
1 minute. No, I'm not able to share. G. It says only host can share, and it is just kicking me out.
Oh. Okay, let it be. I think Subhaji, you are able to do it. If you are able to do it, then do it. Otherwise, leave it.
Okay.
So, so in this way, he involves in so much of activities. He goes to foreign, out of station, out of India also for this kind of greed. And this kind of activities causes great sufferings. On the rise of avarice, even if it be the work of some respected and adored person there too, he tries somehow to achieve his goal, giving no thought to rationality. And whatever desired thing he has obtained, he tries to protect it by various means. If the desired object is not obtained or is lost, he feels very much distracted, starting cutting the parts of his own body and dies by swallowing poison, etc. Such a state condition happens when avarice manifests. So when the passion of greed rises, the person undertakes such kind of activities. Now we are going to see what are the different types of greed. The first one that we are discussing is about money and wealth. Okay. So money is not directly greed, but with the help of money, yeah, it was there. With the help of money, you can get all the sensory objects and all other kinds of your desires. So Acharya Subchandra says in Jnana Avarana Granth that person empowered by this avarice passion takes the wealth even by killing cruelly his own master, teacher, brother, friend, aged person. Now make it full screen. Wife, children, and weak, poor, orphan, and destitute fellows. So a person under the influence of greed even kills his own master, teacher, brother, whatnot. Whatever evils are mentioned as instrumental for hell in mythological scriptures are all manifested due to avarice passion. So those who are taking birth in hell, they manifested this greed in themselves, and that so that the karma was bound, and because of that now they are in hell. A person who is avaricious of wealth, greedy of wealth, is always found busy in collection only. He keeps on collecting whatever comes his way. He does not find time to enjoy it. Only collecting and collecting and collecting, but not enjoying, not spending it. The greed of animals is limited to fill the stomach only. Get the stomach filled. Okay. Getting the stomach filled, it feels satisfied. Who? The animals. Though for the time being. But the greed of a human being is not limited to filling the stomach only. Okay. It is not limited to filling the stomach only. He remains unsatisfied always due to the anxiety of filling up the box. Box means where you keep valuable things, wealth, jewelries, gold, all those things. Day and night, his concern is money and money alone. His preoccupation is always money. He does not believe that even after making various efforts, money and other desired things cannot be obtained without the rise of auspicious karma. Because the acquisition of things, wealth, is the fruit of punya karma, auspicious karma, meritorious deed done in the past. So you can enlarge it a bit. On the top, there will be an option of view. And in view, you can go and make it full screen, something like that. Okay. So now we are studying the different types of greed. The first in the category is money and wealth. Okay. You can start reading from here. Aditi, I'll make you the host. Aditi has come.
Yeah.
So 1 minute. Huh? Yes. So now I would say, Subhaji, you read from emphasizing this. It is written in Bhagavati Aradhana. So we are
Which
studying
page?
about different
Yes,
types
please.
of greed, page number 59.
Yeah.
And the first of the point is money and wealth.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Ji?
yeah.
Yeah. For emphasizing this, it is written in Bhagavati Aradhana. The virtuous person, though engrossed in avarice, does not acquire wealth, and the virtuous person, though without avarice, acquires wealth. Therefore, in the acquisition of wealth, attachment to greed is not the cause, but virtue is the only cause. Bearing this in mind, one should give up greediness. Further, for infusing the spirit of giving up greediness of forsaken wealth, it is said, in this world, wealth has been acquired infinite times. So, it is futile to be astonished about this wealth, which has been acquired and forsaken infinite times. In this world and in the afterworld, avarice produces many evils. Knowing this, one must conquer the avarice passion. These days, the temptation of property only is considered to be greed. Many people spend money on passional acts and luxuries, but if they spend extravagantly, they are called gracious people, and those who spend restrictedly are called greedy. Presume, for the sake of illustration, someone invites you for breakfast and also take you to the cinema. In your opinion, he is an uncovetous fellow. But if you are required to pay the bill for the breakfast or to pay for the cinema ticket also, you will scream, "Oh my God, what a greedy fellow I have come across." Likewise, suppose if you go to collect contribution for a religious institution and someone contributes below your expectation or does not contribute at all, then you will brand him as an avaricious person. But if he contributes more than your expectation, he becomes generous in your eyes. Maybe he has contributed more only for the greed of getting fame. Thus, persons who are fame greedy are treated to be generous ones. One who appears magnanimous externally may turn out to be very greedy. This probability does not get our attention. Really speaking, the greed of money is not everything. Greed is of many types. Example, greed of fame, greed of fair complexion, greed of name, greed of sex, etc.
So you see, we began with money and wealth. That was the first greed. The second is greed of fame. There is a famous example of Bharat Chakravarti. Not Bharat Chakravarti, I would say, but greed of fame, you can see across all people. The three major contributing factor now for greed are money, fame, and power. Okay, because of this, the greed always arises. So greed of fame, you are quite familiar with. The third one is greed of fair complexion. So this is later on explained. Then the fourth one is greed of name. And in this greed of name, Bharat Chakravarti's name is taken as an example, that when he conquered the sixth Khand and he went to that Vijay Parvat, Vijay mountain, to write his name. And when he went there to write his name, he saw that this was full of names. And actually he has to rub one of the names to write his name. And then he thought that tomorrow my name, somebody else will come and rub my name. So what is there in a name? So one should not have greed for name, because in any ways it is not something that belongs to the soul. It is all that is belonging to the body, the mind, the speech, which is not a part of the soul. The last one, fifth one, is greed of sex. So actually it is greed for desire. काम लिखा है, हिंदी में लिखा है काम. So for काम he thought sex. So it is greed for desire. Desire for Pandit Todramal ji explained very detailedly in chapter 3. Yeah, chapter 3. 4 types of desires. Okay. First one is desire for sensory objects. The second one is desire to act according to the passions reproduced, to fulfill the passions that has arisen. The third one is to remove the rise of inauspicious karma that has come into fruition. And the fourth one is the desire for rise of auspicious karma, punya. So in short, it is Vishay, Kashai, Pap, and Punya. And the main thing is with desire is it never gets satisfied. If one desire is over, another desire will crop up. And when that will be satisfied, then the third will come up. So you are not able to satisfy your desire at any point of time. This is the first reason. The second reason is that the amount of desire each person has is such a big well, you know, it's compared to a well, it's such a big well, and all the properties and wealth of this universe, if you all put together, it is just a small portion in the well. So now you can imagine who will get what kind of share. So again, the fulfilling of desire is a impossibility. The third reason for the desire is that when the desire is there, the material is not there. And when you actually get the material that you were desiring, the desire has gone. So the enlightened soul never desires anything, because even if we may desire, but things doesn't come that way. So it is best, accept whatever you get in your life. Don't desire for anything, because this desire is the root cause of our misery. So a person with less desire, you will see him with mild passions. And a person with so many desires, high level of desires, then he will be manifesting intensest passions. So desire is also greed, a type of greed only. So first, the explanation of 5 senses is coming up in the next paragraph. As a matter of fact, the the object of 5 senses is explained here. And then they have talked something about money. Then the third one about page number 61, 5th paragraph. The person who are greedy of fair complexion. that is a greed of fair complexion. The fourth one is greed of name. So in the next paragraph, fourth one is explained. Then the fifth one was about desire. And in the next paragraph explains fifth one also. Then sixth one is the next paragraph, bhog. Bhog which can be enjoyed only once, and bhog. The last paragraph of that page, page number 62, color greedy moths is the seventh point. Then page number 64, greed, attachment, avarice, that is number 8. Page 64, second paragraph. So this is number 8, greed, attachment. Then in the next page, one type of greed, first paragraph. This is number 9, greed for heaven. Then leave one paragraph, the chief saints. That is number 10. That basically primarily discusses about desire only. Then Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev is number 11, point number 11. 2 paragraphs. Greed of perceptibles. Page number 65 only. Acharya Amrit Chandra 2. This one. So this is the 11th point. And the next point is the greed for rag. Next paragraph is 12. Greed for attachments. Then the next is page number 67. No, it still continues, the 12th one. There's page number 68. 13th one, if these do make the soul unholy. Page number 68, third paragraph. — 13th. Then the 14th is in the next page. By nature, soul is perfectly holy. So there are 14 points, and the last of the points is on page number 72. What should we do to get rid of greed? Last paragraph is the solution. Page 72. Last paragraph. By nature, all souls. Last paragraph. By nature. This is the solution. So we come back to point number, page number 60. Come to page number 60. And Jin Priyaji, you can read now.
Which page should I read, sir?
Page number 60, last paragraph.
60, is it? 60. 1 second. I just crossed. 1 second. Just a minute.
As a matter of fact, you can see on the screen also.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the desire to accomplish the objects of the 5 senses and passions like pride is the real greed. The greed of money is an artificial greed only. This is a new acquisition of human life. Greed is found in all four states of embodied existence, but the transaction of money are not found in all the four states, gatis. If the greed of money only to be treated as to be greed, then establishing the existence of greed in all the four states would not be possible. However, the Acharyas, while discussing the abundance of passions, have mentioned excess of greed in heavenly life. Wrath in infernal beings, pride in human beings, deceit in subhuman beings, animals, and greed in celestial heavenly beings are found predominantly. In heavenly life, there is no transaction of money. Then how can greed be tied in the four corners of money? Money is simply a means of exchange. There is nothing in money which may attract the jivas. It has neither color nor taste to attract people. The paper notes for which man ever remains prepared even to lose his life if kept before a cow, it will not even smell it, whereas it will rush towards the grass. Money is the media of accomplishing the objects of five senses and passion of pride, etc. This is the reason why a man is tempted to acquire it. If worldly pleasures and name and fame could not be achieved through it, nobody would bother to go after it. Money's value is an imposed one. In itself, it has no value. Therefore, obviously, the greed of money is also an imposed one. The persons who are greedy of fair complexion, name, and fame can be found spending money extravagantly anywhere. To substantiate this fact, hundreds of examples are found in mythology and in history.
So I would like to interrupt here.
Uh-huh.
The example of Raja Shrenik and Chelna, and the example of Pavanjay and Anjana. So Raja Shrenik was attracted by the looks of Chelna Rani, and that is again here shown as a greed of good look, you know. And Pavanjay was attracted with the beauty of Anjana. So they both, in fact, Raja Shrenik told lie to Chelna that he is a Jain and he has a temple in his palace. So Chelna was very much interested in the religion. So she thought that she is a king also, he is a king also, and he has a temple in his palace. That means he must be really interested in Jainism. So she married, and when she came to the palace, there was no temple. So then she realized that she has been cheated. But he accepted as his destiny, and he started living there. And because of his purity, and because of that incidence of Yashodhar Muniraj, the heart of Shrenik Raja also melt, and he also became a Jaini. So if our purity is there, things will turn out our way sooner or later. It may take some time, but if your purity is there, if your what you call straightforwardness is there, good things will automatically come to you. Same was with Anjana. Pavanjay was very much attracted with the looks of Anjana, and so he married Anjana, but he was never he never lived with her, and he went for business. I think he went to somewhere to do business, and he didn't return for 22 years. Can you imagine? Someone getting married and then the fellow goes away immediately after marriage and comes after 22 years. And in these 22 years, there were a lot of challenges that has come in her life. And because of his belief in religion, he never revolted, or he never did anything which would you know, hamper his prestige and his family's prestige. And so she took a lot of sufferings. And eventually Pavanjay came back, and he realized his mistake, and then they lived happily ever after. And you know, Hanumanji is the son of Pavanjay and Anjana only. So these two examples I wanted to give. Now you continue, Jinpriya ji.
Okay, sure. People desirous of getting their names engraved on the boards for the sake of immortality of name would do well to take a lesson from Bharata Chakravarti's experience. He went to write his name, but found the rock completely filled up with the names of past Chakravarti kings. He could write his name only after rubbing one name. On pondering over the situation, he was nonplussed to visualize that his name too would be rubbed off by a later Chakravarti who would like to write his own name. Greedy persons could be of several types. 4 types of greeds are enumerated by Akalanka Dio in Rajvartika: the greed of life, greed of health, greed of sense objects, and greed of re-enjoyment. Acharya Amrita Chandra has also mentioned 4 types of greeds in Tattvartha Sutra. He states Bhoga, which can be enjoyed only once, Upabhoga, which can be enjoyed more than once, survival, and the objects of 5 senses. These are the 4 kinds of greed. Sauch Dharma, the religion of contentment, purity, is the name of relinquishing the greed of all 4 types. The only difference in the 2 aforesaid types of classification is that Akalanka Dio has included Bhoga and Upabhoga both under Upabhoga, and the greed of health has been mentioned separately. In the above mentioned type of greeds, the greed of money has nowhere been enumerated. If we pay attention on aforesaid types of greed, the predominance of greed of objects of 5 senses is clearly seen. Bhoga and Upabhoga are objects of the 5 senses only. Health of the body is also related with the power of enjoying the objects of sense, because except the mass of 5 senses, what else is the body? The greed of living too is nothing but the avarice of the existence of the body. In this way, we find that the above mentioned different types of greed get incorporated under the objects of 5 senses. While describing the wretchedness, very miserable condition of jivas, mundane souls, immersed in the greed of objects of the 5 senses, and inspiring to forsake greed, the author of Paramatma Prakasha has written thus: color greedy moths by falling in flame of lamp, the deers greedy of melodious words by penetration of hunters' arrows, elephants and greedy of sex by falling into the pit, the buzzing black flies greedy of fragrance by getting close in the lotus, and the fish greedy of taste by getting pierced by fisherman's nail or by getting captured in fisherman's net, all suffer from extreme pain and end their lives. O Jiva, O sentient being, why do you become greedy of such sense objects? Why do you develop attachment with them? O Yogi, though you must give up greed, this greed is no way good, because the whole world is suffering from miseries, being captive to it. When the passion of greed, which overshadows the nature of the soul and is contrary to Sauch Dharma, comes into its intense state, it suppresses even the other passions. A greedy passion does not bother about respect or insult. He swallows wrath too. The passion of greed not only...
Bas. So
Yes.
you see, in the 7th point, colors. So there are 5 sensory objects that has been discussed here for each example. Now for the example of color, greedy moths. by falling in the flame of lamp. You know, there are some insect who likes this fire, and they play around near the fire and gets burned in the fire. The deer is greedy of that music or the voice, you know, melodious words by penetration of hunter's arrow. So the hunter plays that music and the deer gets absorbed in that melodious words, and the hunter easily captures that deer. Similarly, elephants, this is an example of touch. Okay, so the first one was color, that is eyes. The second one was about ear, objects of ears. The third one was touch. So the elephant greedy of sex by falling into the pit. So they make a big deep, they make a big pit and put grass on it, and they keep a female elephant in front of that. So as soon as the male elephant saw the female elephant, he rushes there, and because of his desire to have sex with that lady elephant, he falls into that pit and he gets caught, and then he is killed. The next example is about the buzzing black flies, greedy of fragrance. So he's so much greedy of getting that fragrance that in the evening, when the flower of lotus closes, he gets trapped into that and he dies. And the last one is the fish, greedy of taste, by getting pierced by the fisherman's nail or by getting captured in the fisherman's net. So they are given 5 examples of each senses. Okay, eyes, ear, touch, nose, and the taste. So there are 5 senses, and they give an example of one each object, and they have shown that the desire is more than their lives. Desire is more important to them than their lives. So even at the cost of getting killed, they want to fulfill their desire, and not only fulfill, they want to keep it, enjoying it, and ultimately they die in it. Then before that, fair complexion we had already done, and the next one was people desire of getting their names. Okay, so I gave you an example of Bharat Chakravarti, that he has to rub one name and put it in his, and he thought that somebody tomorrow will come and will rub my name to write his own name. So there is the greed for conquering the kingdoms for the sake of name doesn't make sense. Then these are 4 types of greed: greed of life, greed of good health, greed of sense objects, and greed of re-enjoyment. So you see, some of them are overlapping one another, but so far we have covered 7 points. Okay, now we straightway move to the 8th point, page number 64. What are the other names of greed? So it is greed, attachment, avarice, desire, want. These are all different names of the greed, the passion of greed. Now the 8th point is in the same paragraph, love or affection, okay, are also names for greed. And the next 2-3 paragraphs explain the greed of love. So who will read now? Aditi ji, you read. You have not read, no?
From the affection?
No, from greed attachment.
Greed, attachment, avarice, desire, want, etc. are the various names of Lobh Kashai, the passion of greed. Love or affection are also names of greed. When greed is about some particular thing, it is termed as avarice or attachment. But when the same greed is towards some person, it is in the name of affection or love. The affection towards the objects of the five senses is nothing but greed. The object of the five senses can either be animate or inanimate. Often the feeling of affection towards animate objects is termed as love, whereas the feeling of attachment towards inanimate objects is denoted by the term greed. Man's attraction towards woman is given the name of love only. In this context, Mr. Shukla's thoughts are further worth noting. But in ordinary conversation, the disposition of mind towards an object is called greed, attachment, and the disposition towards any particular person is called as love or affection. Due to object-wise difference in the inanimate things and living persons, object-wise difference in the inanimate things and living persons, much difference in the nature and tendency of greed is discernible, due to which the greed in respect of a person is termed separately. But basically, both greed and love are one and the same. Various attractive terms like universal love, affection are used for the reformed form of greed. But after all these are only different aspects of greed. The attachment found towards one's parents, sons, daughter, etc. are assuredly regarded as auspicious or pure.
So there are these different types of greed that has been discussed. Then there is greed of heaven, then there is greed of desire, then there is greed of knowing the different objects which are reflecting in his knowledge. And the last one, or the 12th one, is the greed of attachment. Now we are running short of time, so we'll move directly into the solution. How do we overcome by this greed, by this passion of greed? So we discussed many types of greeds, and there are other examples also there. You can just go through, but we are coming to the solution, which is on page number 72. Now read. Aditi ji, you only read.
By nature, all souls are absolutely holy. Contrary deformity is in the modification paryai only. But when the modification paryai takes shelter of the absolutely holy nature of the soul, the paryai also then becomes holy. The only way to achieve purity in modification is to take shelter of the absolutely holy nature of self-soul. Impurity in modifications results under the shelter of other not self objects, and purity is achieved by taking shelter of the self, one's own soul. In the commentary of Samaysar, Gatha number 72, Amrit Chandra Acharya had described the soul as absolutely pure in nature, and delusion, attachment, aversion, etc., emotional influxes as totally impure. He has described Ashrav Tattva influx as asuchi, unholy. But according to him, Jeev Tattva and Ajeev Tattva are not unholy. The soul is Jeev, the body is Ajeev. Both are not unholy. Ashrav influx is only unholy, and it is in the form of greed or lobh. that is passional feelings. The purity of nature is so powerful that whichever paryai stoops to it, whichever paryai touches it, that paryai also becomes holy. That thing alone is called sacred, which makes the object touching it also sacred. How could that thing be called sacred, which becomes unholy when touched by others? That thing is called paras, a special quality of precious stone, by the touch of which even iron becomes gold. But if by its touch gold becomes iron, it cannot be called paras. Similarly, if by the touch of unholy paryai, the nature of soul becomes unholy, that is the use. What is the use of such nature? Nature is the name of that quality under the shelter of which paryai also achieves holiness. The name of that paryai, which becomes pure by touching the holy nature of the soul, is Shauch Dharma. Without touching the nature of soul, that is, without realization of the soul, the origination of Shauch Dharma is unlikely to occur. Not only of Shauch Dharma, but the origination of all dharmas is possible only when self-realization takes place. Self-realization is the generator of all dharmas, that is, virtues, example like supreme forbearance. However, those who want to achieve holiness in paryai, that is, those who want to attain Shauch Dharma, should try to obtain self-realization and be successful in attaining it. Ending this discussion, I pray that all souls may manifest Shauch Dharma in paryai by attaining self-realization.
So this, you see, the solution is you have to take shelter in yourself, because your nature is full of purity, and if you take shelter in it, the purity will of course manifest in the modification. So this was all about, in the absence of greed, the religion of contentment, supreme contentment is being manifested. So even if you are making an attempt to get something as a because your passion of greed has arisen in you, then also it doesn't matter, because you get only those objects by way of auspicious karmas only. So if you have bounded auspicious karma earlier, then only you get those objects. Otherwise, desiring those objects doesn't make sense, because you don't get objects according to your desire, but you get objects according to your destiny, your karmas, auspicious karmas, and that is something which is not in your hand. So it is best not to have greed for anything. Be content with whatever you have got in your life, and you will be a happy soul. We were discussing about the attachments. The greed is such an passion that it goes out of 25 passions. Greed is the last one to go. Before that, all other passions gets eradicated. So with greed, all the other passions are included in greed. So the greed goes off in the 10th stage of spiritual development, and then the soul becomes vitrag, passionlessness state. So that is the 12th spiritual stage of development. And then on the 13th, he becomes an omniscience. And after the 14th, he becomes Siddh. He gets liberated. So the supreme contentment is an important dharma, and one should be content with all the purities that a soul has, the soul's nature is full of purity. The soul's nature is full of happiness. The soul's nature is full of eternal bliss. So one should take shelter of that soul, and automatically this kind of attributes or quality will get manifested in the modification. So this was all about supreme contentment. Tomorrow we will be studying about supreme truth, Uttam Satya. That is the 5th one in the sequence. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है। 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जिनेन्द्र। There is no time to take up any questions, but if you have any kind of questions, you can ask me personally on my personal chat.